What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we've got some breaking news. I'm going to be sharing with you video footage coming directly from the White House and some of the news that's been coming out today. And also, I'm going to be asking you a question, and I want to know your thoughts. I've got a feeling the viewing audience might split up into two separate groups on this. I might just do a poll. I'm going to be asking you here in just a second. This is your breaking news stimulus package update. Now, take a look at some of these headlines just coming out today. Social Security benefits jumped to 5.9% in 2022 in the biggest increase in 40 years. Take a look at another one just came out. Social Security cost of living adjustment will be 5.9% in 2022. So good news for SSI recipients, right? Just a second. Take a look at this next article, you guys. Social Security recipients get 5.9% increase, but rising prices will offset the boost. And that is the huge breaking news coming out today, you guys. Inflation is worse than we expected, and now we're hearing that it's going to last longer than we expected to. Take a look at this, you guys. Key inflation report. Prices aren't coming back to earth anytime soon, and high inflation to last a while. Fed's Bostic says it's no longer transitory. In other words, that temporary increase to prices that we were seeing due to the pandemic, due to stimulus and debt, due to all these things going on, even the supply chain issues we're having now, we're hearing it's not going to be as temporary as we thought. Now, this is where the question comes in. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Now, we saw SSI get increased to keep up with the speed of inflation. Should we also do that for stimulus provisions too, for families, for Americans, for single individuals? Give them more stimulus because prices are going up and we have so many people unemployed that they're going to get left behind due to inflation. They already can't keep up with it right now. However, also, we're hearing that all the stimulus and debt and all the things that have been caused over the past couple of years are actually a major contribution to the inflation that's taking place. So if we give more stimulus to keep up with the inflation in place, are we causing future inflation to come? And then we're going to go down a slippery slope of needing more and more stimulus, devaluing our money at an incredible pace, potentially leading to hyperinflation. Let me know your thoughts. More stimulus? No more stimulus. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at what the White House had to say in response to this, and also know that right now they're working away on more stimulus. The stimulus bill of $3.5 trillion, the infrastructure package, and they've got to increase that debt ceiling and avoid a government shutdown all before December 3rd. So you guys, let's dive right in and take a look as of today, October 13th, 2021. Now, before we do though, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate these updates, don't forget to take a moment to smash that like button. I would appreciate it. Helps out the channel a ton. Just lets the algorithm know that you appreciate the updates, and they're going to continue to promote my channel and my videos. Now, in addition to that, don't forget, leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, come join the Ram Fam viewing community. I'll keep you up to speed on all this stuff. And if you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I go through all my DMs and I'll do my best to get you any answers to any questions that you got. And as usual, use caution here on YouTube because we get a ton of comments and then scammers go in the comments. They try to pose as me with my picture. They put my name and then they ask you to contact them on WhatsApp and ask for you to donate the money or give out your personal information. You guys, that's not me. I'm just here to get you caught up on the latest, okay? I don't have an assistant, I don't have a WhatsApp, and I don't ask you to donate me money. So let's go ahead and get you caught up on the latest. So let's dive right in and let's take a look at this video footage of what the White House had to say on this just moments ago today.
Great, thanks, Jen. Two quick subjects. First, with today's consumer prices report and President Biden's pending choice about leadership of the Federal Reserve, how patient is this administration with inflation consistently running above the Fed's 2% target?
Well, as you know, Josh, from following this closely, we obviously defer to the Federal Reserve and their projections and official targets, which they make regularly. I would note that we've seen a decrease over the course of time, and that is still evident if you look month to month over with the data that came out this morning. So between the second quarter and third quarter of this year, monthly inflation increases have actually decelerated by 50%. And just to give you more specific data points, it was around 0.8%, and then it went down to 0.4%, hence 50%. So we think this decrease reflects the view of the Federal Reserve, continues to be, and many Wall Street forecasters, which continue to predict project that inflation is expected to continue to decelerate in 2022 and beyond as we come out of the pandemic. So it's not about patience to us. We certainly understood and knew that when the president was coming into office, and he was coming in at a time where we needed to turn the economy back on, where he was coming in at a time where unemployment was high, where wages were down, demand was down, which, as you know, once you build up, when demand increases, that can result in an increase in prices. That over time, as the economy is turning back on, we'd see some of these transitory effects. That's what's been predicted. That's what we have been planning for. And of course, next year we expect it to come down as outside forecasters are projecting. Go ahead.
Is there any concern in the White House that the embrace of the Fed's use of transitory at best makes your job more complicated month over month to explain what's going on with inflation? At worst, could be misleading for folks who don't necessarily get that transitory may mean a year or longer?
Well, the way we view it is that it's important to preserve the independence of the Federal Reserve, and that can give the American people and the markets confidence in what their projections and their predictions are. And that's long been how these issues have been approached throughout history. And we think that's important to continue that trend. Transitory, I guess I don't have an assessment of how many people know exactly what that means or what that means to them. We know that what the Federal Reserve and Wall Street economists and others are projecting is that the rate of inflation will come down next year. What that means is that as people have seen these increase in some costs of goods over the course of the last year or so, as the economy is turning back on, and as I would note, we were turning from a period of time where the unemployment rate was high, people didn't have a lot of excess money and wages to spend on goods, so naturally the demand has come up over the course of the last year, that is the projection is it's coming down. So I wouldn't say it's complicated as for us. We look at things over the long term, and we know that if the American people, businesses, the markets can rely on the independence of the Federal Reserve, that's good for the economy and good for the integrity of that.
I think to put a finer point on it, I just mean that everyone was saying transitory in February and March. I understand the nuance and the economics of what's going on here.
Yes, I know you do.
But when the deceleration is happening slower perhaps than people expected a few months ago, and people are still paying 10 or 15 or 20% more for meat, and they're saying, why was it supposed to be transitory 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and we're still here? Does that make things more difficult to explain as to why this is the case?
Well, it requires us explaining, and through working with all of you as well, that the cost of meat is also related to competition and the small number of large meat producers who have a dominance over the market, and the fact that a lot of these issues are not as simple as a one-sentence explanation, and that different industries have different issues in the supply chains, different issues that are causing some increases in prices, and also because we all understand the American people are not looking at cost-to-cost comparisons from this year to 2 years ago. They're looking at cost-to-cost comparisons to their checkbooks from 8 months ago or 12 months ago. And even though factually, if you look back to 2 years ago, things may be comparative, that's not how people look at things. So our objective here is to tackle each of these issues with the approach that we think will help address it in the shortest term. Go ahead.
Hey, Jen, on the supply chain issue, Secretary Buttigieg is saying that there may be challenges for last-minute shoppers. Among them, Secretary Yellen says there could be isolated shortages of goods in the coming months. So can you give us a realistic breakdown of what Americans could be facing on these shortages come the holiday season? What are we talking about?
For shipment of goods, which I assume is what you're asking about. So the reason that the president has been working so hard for months, long before the last few weeks, to address supply chain issues is because he knew they were multifaceted and that they were impacting a lot of different industries. I know you're asking about shipments and the shipment and movement of goods. And obviously the announcement today related to the ports is a reflection of action taken by the president, by this administration to have an immediate impact. Obviously, there's more that we will continue to press to be done as we're looking to increase the shipment of goods moving more quickly. That's one of the bottlenecks in the supply chain that will help address those concerns people have. Look, I can't make a prediction for you that we're going to solve every issue tomorrow and next week. We're not. We're coming out of an economic crisis caused by a pandemic. But what we are doing is working to using every tool at our disposal to ease the impact on the American people, ease the impact on families as we look to the holidays, but certainly beyond that.
But should Americans expect that this will get worse before it gets better?
I'm not going to make a prediction of that from here. We know there are a number of issues that impact the supply chain, and I don't want to make a prediction because it's not just one issue. Certainly, increasing the capacity at ports, and increasing the number of hours will have a positive impact. There's no question about that. But there are other issues that impact the global supply chain, including the pandemic, something that we are working 24 hours a day to help address around the world. That's impacted manufacturing in some countries, manufacturing of goods in some places, and reducing the supply in some places. That's one of the factors too. We're also working to address that. It's not just one issue, but certainly we're going to use every lever at our disposal to address it, to make it, to address the bottlenecks as quickly as we can. Go ahead.
Let me ask that a slightly similar but different way.
Sure.
Based on everything being announced today,
Yeah.
can this administration guarantee that holiday packages will arrive on time?
We are not the Postal Service or UPS or FedEx. We cannot guarantee. What we can do is use every lever at the federal government disposal to reduce delays, to ensure that we are addressing bottlenecks in the system, including ports and the need for them to be open longer hours so that goods can arrive. And we can continue to press not only workers and unions, but also companies to take as many steps as they can to reduce these delays. And I would certainly say that over the course of the last several months, when people go to the grocery store and they're trying to buy a pound or 2 pounds, 5 pounds, however big their family is, of meat, that's an issue that has been impacting them nearly every single day. We also know that there are issues in the supply chain as it relates to housing and the cost of housing across the country. That's one of the reasons the president has been so focused and the supply chain task force has been focused, and there's money also in some of his proposals he signed into law to address that issue, to reduce the cost of lumber and make sure that that is available so that new houses can be built and we can address the housing shortage and address housing prices. So I would say for average people sitting at home, they're not focused just on the port. Of course they are. They're focused on getting their goods, but they're focused on the cost of goods. They're focused on how much meat costs. They're focused on what their checkbook looks like. And we've been working to address each of those issues in the supply chain from the beginning of this administration. And also because as it relates to addressing a range of issues in our economy, as much as wages are up and unemployment is down, we also recognize there are longer term issues we want to address, including inflation. And that is something, while it is going to come down next year, and those are the predictions, the Build Back Better agenda, the president's economic agenda, will help bring that down. That is what 17 Nobel laureates have told us and have told all of you. So he wants his entire agenda passed, and that's what he thinks will be good for the economy long term. And you, of course, need the majority of votes in both Congresses to get that done.
So there you have it, you guys. Again, let me know your thoughts. As we're hearing the White House saying this is still transitory. It might be a little bit longer than we're expecting, but they're saying that this will subside, that it's typical to go through this during a pandemic or an economic crisis. But we're also hearing concerns and reports saying, no, this isn't as transitory as they're saying. Do you think that the White House is on track with this, or do you think that they're trying to make it seem better than it actually is? Let me know your thoughts, you guys, but that is the latest. I'll be sure to keep you up to speed on everything that's unfolding with the inflation, the supply chain issues, with stimulus, infrastructure, and everything going on in Congress. And with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. As always, don't forget, if you made it this far and you haven't already, smash that like button. Helps out the channel a ton. Leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share this out. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, come join the viewing community. And if you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. Catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.